Hello everybody and welcome to another clown reaction video. I'm Barnaby from Clown Spirit, where we use the power of clowning to bring lightness, joy and connection to your life and to everybody around you. So today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite all-time clowns, George Carl. Now if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button now and the notification button so you don't miss any new videos as I put them out. George Carl is really an amazing example of a kind of eccentric performer who uses, his body, he uses objects for pure enjoyment, pure fun, pure comedy value in the moment. He is he created a kind of visual language that is completely unique to himself. And this particular routine is at the Hollywood Palace. It's presented by none other than Bing Crosby, who you'll see here at the beginning. And I haven't seen this one before, so this is going to be a genuine new reaction to a new, well, not new, old, but new to me, George Carl routine. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Carl.
Well, beautiful opening. I mean, this is classic George Carl. I've seen this he does this similar kind of routine in most of his acts. Although, interestingly, the most common and popular act of George Carl's, he uses a microphone. It's a kind of his signature thing, a microphone and a microphone stand. And his whole shtick is like, getting in a mess with the microphone and it keeps on hitting him and getting tangled up with the cord and not being able to set it up straight. In this, he doesn't have a microphone, so he's going with a different kind of thing. I'm not sure if that came later in his career or if he just decided not to do that this time. But all that kind of shifty moving back and forth on the toes, on the heels, it's very trademark of him. And the body not working, the odd things happening with the body, and he's having to sort of fix himself all the time. The hat work, just that kind of, just like tirade of tricks, of one after the other, and some of them aren't totally smooth, but it kind of doesn't matter. But it's sort of an aesthetic of messiness, and it's just the rhythm and the drum. The percussion is absolutely key to it, right? It provides this kind of punctuation, this kind of rhythmic counterpoint to what he's doing, or a sort of accompaniment to what he's doing. It's like a musical act in some ways, almost like his body is kind of producing those sounds, or it's controlled by those sounds. There's this intimate link, and I assume, although I don't know, that he traveled with his own drummer, or somebody making those percussive noises that worked with him a lot and really knew the exact structure of the act, and that they worked together, because I think it would be very hard to do that if he was just working with a random musician every time. Okay, so now we can move on to something a little bit different, where he's got an object that he's pulled out. So let's see what happens here. Beautiful. So we're taking a moment just to deconstruct that simple little sequence, right? So we had the whole introduction when he arrived, and the hat, and all that felt like an introduction, really, just sort of welcoming him to the stage. And then he pulls out this sort of string thing, which is the first trick, if you like, of his act. And it's very important, the setup of it. He's very serious. He starts to really do some clowning, in a sense that maybe we haven't seen up until that point in the act. Some more classic clowning where he's really focusing on that chord, wanting it to stay, and then as it starts to bend and collapse, he looks to the audience with the failure, right? To sort of acknowledge the failure. He tries a second time, it does it again, a little bit turned up on the emotion, and then the third time, he surprises us. So this is a key kind of rule of three with clowning, which is that you can repeat something, but the third time, or sometimes it can be more than that, something different has to happen, right? So he kind of lets go with the bottom hand and then it's straight. So it's a beautiful little, very simple clown structure there. And now we have another person coming onto the stage. So let's see what happens next. It's really amazing, that whole sequence right there. It all starts with just a finger getting stuck in the buttonhole or in the jacket somehow, and then it keeps on getting stuck in all these different parts of his body. And it lasted probably a whole minute. It got attached to her, it got attached to his eye at one point, and he couldn't pull it out. And again, it's all this, the body is misbehaving. It's as though he just can't get his own body under control, and it's kind of going crazy. And the whole thing is he's trying to get control back of his body. And then when he finally does, he gives you a little sort of little bounce, right, of kind of satisfaction. Here I am, ready to start the next section. It's just so clear and concise. It's crystalline, isn't it? We can see the problem. We can see sort of when it ends, and the structure is very simple, but it's very clear. Beautiful. I love this. Love it. So, this assistant has come on and held her arms up there, and he keeps on sort of pretending that he's about to do some acrobatic thing, but it never actually happens. And again, this is classic kind of clown shtick, right? Setting you up for some expectation. It's not about that. The thing never happens. It's all about the stuff that happens on the way to that. So again, his finger gets stuck. And the audience went wild, didn't they? They loved this routine of the hands, one hand getting kind of lost inside the jacket and the other hand's there, and then it switches round and then both disappear and then they both come out. Big laugh, big round of applause. Again, this is kind of classic George Carl stuff that I haven't seen it in this particular order, integrated in this particular way before, but I've seen a lot of those moves before in different acts. And it's just interesting how I think a lot of comedians do this, and maybe particularly this in this era. They're essentially kind of, they've got a fairly small amount of actual material, but they're just organizing it and structuring it in different ways for different uses and different circumstances. Beautiful, beautiful work. Again, his body, right? It's so distinctive to him, and it's all uncomfortable. Nothing really fits. Everything's a bit too long or a bit too short. Beautiful. Okay, so now and then the assistant leaves without this trick, whatever it was, ever actually happening. And then behind there's an object, some what we call sometimes cigar boxes that were placed there, and he's going to do some kind of trick with these. It's so brilliant. I've never seen that before. It seemed like he was doing an amazing cigar box routine, very, very skilled. And I was like, wow, I've never seen anybody as good at cigar boxes as that. It looks like that middle one is just floating there. And then it turns out it was actually attached to his costume in some way. So a beautiful little kind of comic surprise moment there. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, so good. I really hope you enjoyed this routine by George Carl. I love that finale, right? Of it's pure eccentric dance is what that is at the end. He's just showing us, there's music. He's showing us these wonderful kind of crazy moves, what his body can do, and he's playing with rhythm. He's playing with perspective. That moment where he kind of stops and looks at his watch, and it kind of gets boring, and then he goes back into it again. All these little jokes implanted in there. And the beautiful exit there, sort of straight into the middle of the stage where he's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the light is kind of diminishing on him. It's just such gorgeous artistry in this, and it's amazing to see it. This kind of technique, eccentric dance, and also this kind of use of objects in this playful, clownish way. It's a little bit similar to what we saw in another video I did recently by Jan Dahm, who worked a lot with Avner the Eccentric. And Avner also does this kind of thing. Jan's piece was with his suspenders, where he kind of got into a mess, getting stuck with the suspenders. And then, the whole act kind of revolves around that. And it was quite reminiscent of George Carl in some ways. But what is amazing about Carl is just the speed. I mean, it's just like lightning. It's incredible. Just one thing, another thing, another thing. And for 6 minutes, the amount of material in that 6 minutes is quite mind-blowing. And I don't think there's ever been anyone to equal the amazing George Carl. So thank you so much for watching this, yet another clown reaction video. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Welcome to the Clown Spirit family. Check out my website, which is www.clown-spirit.com. There's tons of free stuff there and courses. Clowning is our thing at Clown Spirit. So please support us. Please get involved. Clowning is an awesome thing. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out some more coming to you very soon. Bye for now.